Hello and welcome to the brief Photoshop tutorial. In this tutorial we will discuss the minimal functions you will need to know to complete your digital collage project. So to begin, you will create a new PSD file. Now a PSD is just the general Photoshop document file. Okay, so to do this, you're going to go ahead and click File, New. And for the title, enter your last name underscore first name. So for me, that would be Richter underscore Ari. For the document's dimensions, set it to 800 pixels wide by 600 pixels high. Okay, and click OK. And here we are, your new Photoshop PSD. Okay, so if you want to change the orientation of this, if you want it to say be a tall rectangle as opposed to a horizontal rectangle, you can click Image, rotate canvas 90 degrees clockwise. That'll make it the tall orientation, or you can always go back another 90 degrees clockwise, get you back to horizontal. Okay, so first we're going to open up our image file that we want to use. So in this case, I've gotten a figure. Okay, so there's my my image file, and for the time being, we'll minimize our PSD. Okay, so here's our figure JPEG. We're going to maximize this, and then you can use the magnifying tool on the toolbar on the left, and go to maximize, and we'll get a little bit of a closer view of it. Okay, now from this point, we're going to start using the polygon lasso tool to cut this out. So you go to the lasso tool on the toolbar, and if you hold it down with your mouse, you'll see there's different options. Okay, we'll use the polygon lasso today just because I find it a little bit easier and a little bit more exact to cut things out with. Now, when you select that, you'll see this polygon lasso cursor, and the act is just like cutting out with scissors. Okay, so you'll click anywhere on the perimeter of your figure that you want to cut out. Okay, so I'm going to click here, and then you see there's a line that creates there. Now the next thing that I click on is going to attach to that line. Okay, so incrementally, bit by bit, you're going to cut this figure out. Okay, and try to get it as good as you can, as close as you can, but don't worry. If it's not exact, I missed a little bit there. If it's not exact, don't worry, because there will be a way after you've selected the outline of the figure to either add parts to it or subtract parts from what you've already done. Okay, so let's just fast forward real quick to the end of this cutting. Okay, so here I am back at the top of the figure, at the top of the head, and what I want to do is connect my last part of the line to the exact first point. And when I get there, a little circle appears on my polygon lasso cursor to tell me that I've hit the mark. So I'm going to go ahead and click, and as you see, it selects the entire outline of what I've just selected. Okay, now to add or subtract from the selection, say we want first to add to the selection. You'll go up to the top of the toolbar where there's these options for the polygon lasso, either add to selection or subtract from selection. We'll start with add to selection, and you'll see down here where I accidentally didn't put the whole foot in there. So I'm just going to start about where I messed it up to begin with, and I'm going to just, again, create the shape of the foot and just connect it and, find that circle again, and there we go. And so now it's connected into the full part of the body. Now for the parts like the shoulder area where I overshot it, I'm going to go to subtract from selection. I'll select that, and then I'll just go along the contour of the shoulder, okay, as best as I can, and back there. And as you see, it takes that out. You can also use the subtract from selection to take out the parts inside of the figure, okay, so the parts that you were not able to get to from the first selection process. Okay, so let me just get this other arm real quick. Okay, so now we have roughly the figure that we want to cut out, and take your time with this. If you ever mess up, like say you accidentally subtract part of his head from his body, as I've just done, you can always go edit, undo. Okay, so edit, undo will always undo whatever the last thing is that you did. Okay, so now let's see. Let's zoom back out from it. Okay, and then click on there, zoom back out, so we see the full figure now. Click on the arrow tool. That's kind of the main tool. Okay, and Now what we're going to do is we're going to put this into our PSD document. So we're going to go to Edit and Copy. And copy is going to copy whatever it is that you just selected. Okay, now we're going to reduce the size of that window, bring back up our project file, we'll maximize that. All right, and then from the project file, we're going to go to Edit, Paste. And there we are, the figure pasted in there now. So if you select the arrow tool, you can drag him around wherever you want it to be. Okay, and as far as the size of this goes, the scale, we're going to talk about how you can transform the scale of the figure. So if you go to Edit, and let's go a little bit zoomed in here. Okay, so if you go to Edit, Free Transform, that's going to allow you to change the scale and orientation of the figure. Okay, so if we hold down the Shift key and then drag this window from the corner, you can make the figure either taller or smaller while constraining its proportions. Okay, and then if you also you can just use these other ones to make them either skinnier or taller and shorter in that way as well. And as you see on the corner, you'll see that rounded arrow tool. That will actually allow you just to pull the figure around to whatever orientation you want it to be. So we want it to be roughly standing upwards, and when you're done, either push the Enter key or double click on the figure, and it'll stay in that orientation that you just put it in. Okay, so now we're going to put the background image into our document. Okay, so we're going to zoom out here. Okay, and then we're going to File, Open, and open up our background image. Okay, so make that a little bit smaller. Okay, now if we just taking this JPEG, if we just grab it with the arrow tool and then pull it into the PDF document, it'll go there. Let's maximize the PDF, and then again, Edit, Free Transform. You might need to zoom out in order to see the full thing, to know where you're pulling from. But then again, Edit, Free Transform, and just as we did with the figure, you can manipulate the background so that it fits how you want it to in your document. Okay, and when you get it to where you want it, just double click or push Enter. Okay, so as you can see, the figure is no longer visible as it was before. It hasn't disappeared, don't worry, it's just behind the layer of the background. So there he is, hiding back there. Okay, now to bring him to the foreground, we're going to have to deal with the layers that are on the right side of the screen. Now, whatever layer is the topmost is going to be above the layers below it. Okay, and then the background layer, the one that stays constant at the bottom, is always going to be at the very back. Okay, so in order to bring a layer forth, the layer of the figure, we're going to click on the figure's layer and then literally drag it by clicking on it and dragging it to the top. Okay, and there he is. Now he's on top of the background. Now the little eyeball icon in the layers section will also tell you what layers are visible or not. So when the eyeball is there, that means you can see the layer. If you were to click on it, the eyeball disappears. You can see the layer disappears as well. So that goes for any layer that you're working with. So if you want the layer to be seen, make sure that eyeball is clicked on and is visible. You may experiment with any other functions in the Adobe Photoshop that you'd like to before you end up finishing. Just make sure that along the way you keep saving the file. And that's just File, Save, and that will continue to save your file because you don't want to lose this information you've been working on. Okay, now to submit, you'll need to save the project as a JPEG image. Okay, to do this, you'll go File, Save As. Okay, and then you're going to, from this Format scroll-down menu, you're going to pick JPEG. Okay, and you'll just save it, same title, last name underscore first name underscore collage, and then Enter will save that. Okay, sure, best quality, why not? Okay, now to submit it though, it will have to be half the size of your original document. So it's a better quality document that you've been working on, but then you'll save it to a smaller quality. To do this, you'll go Image, Image Size, okay, and then you're going to reduce the width, okay, you can constrain proportions if you'd like, reduce the width to 400, and then the height will be 300. Okay, and then you'll push OK, and there we go. It's a slightly smaller file now, and then we'll go ahead and save that